My start in radio was kind of interesting because I wasn't actually trying to get into radio. I had a job for international sports broadcasting for the Olympics, 2002 Olympics in Salt Lake City. And we had to take some broadcast classes. I was actually just communications major, PR and marketing. And we had to take some broadcast journalism classes for TV and radio. Dude, I learned to splice audio. That was awesome. But I took a tour of Simmons Media, Salt Lake, and Trolley Square. And I was just asking some questions to this guy. And I have no idea what I was asking, but I was pretty embarrassed at the end because it was the CEO. He handed me his card. He's like, "Oh, you're going to St. George. Well, make sure you talk to the guy down there and tell him I sent you." And I was like, "Oh, I'm sure I asked you some doozies, but it worked out. I got into radio. I started with promotions and sales, which I totally love that's where I started because that's where my focus was at the time in marketing and PR. But it's small market radio. So you get to do everything, literally anything you want to do, you get to do in small market radio. And I liked learning all of the aspects of radio, how they work together, how synergistically they should work together. So that's about how it happened. I wanted X96 really bad. I wanted the alternative station down here, and I had to pitch it to my boss like 3 times. Man, this was back with PowerPoint presentations going on, and finally got it approved, did the ROI, you're going to have a return on investment in 6 months and this much in a year. And I finally got it approved, and they were like, "Oh, well, we don't have a midday, so that's you." And I was like, whoa. Wait a minute. What are you talking about? And it's the typical radio story where they walked me into the studio. They're like, "That's on. I'll just slide it up for you. Here's your headphones. Good luck." And I was like, and I was horrible. And I don't even have the recordings. I was awful.
Well, every person says that, like how bad they were.
Oh no, my mom told me I was awful.
Oh God, it was that bad.
Oh, it was horrific. My mom called me and she's like, "What are you doing? Why is your voice so low?" And I was like, "Well, because they keep telling me to slow down and that I sound like a cheerleader and I don't know what I'm doing." She's like, "You sound like a 1-900 operator. You have to stop."
So when you were doing promotions, was it like the promotions assistant? Like you were like setting up the tents, doing that whole thing?
Yeah, promotions, like in our small market was a little different. I got to like pitch the promotions to the city, and I got to be in on the good stuff, not just the setting up of the tent and making sure everything runs smoothly, which I did. I helped with that as well. But I got to meet all the people I was supposed to meet to get stuff done, and I actually love still doing that. In fact, we just got back. I pitched the whole summer of free. We have something every single week that we're doing big that we get to go out and film and experience and then give away the next week on the air. So it's kind of fun.
You see the importance of like social media and into the digital stuff. And like, that's why I think it's cool. Like you have like a different energy than I feel like some people are at some of these markets that are kind of more like la-di-da.
Oh, well, thanks. No, I love it. We are very proud of our social media. In fact, for some odd reason, and I think I talked to you about this before, for some reason in this market, Facebook is still huge. And even in the smaller demographics, even in the 22-year-old age range, that's actually our biggest share of our Facebook watchers. And it's really interesting. We started doing tracking with other stations, like in the insights, you can put yourself up against a whole bunch of different, and of course our competitors are in there. And then we have a sister station in Salt Lake that we have in there. So we can look at our stats. We kill it on engagement. I was so proud because we worked so hard to build it. It's so fun to watch the interaction when you develop that relationship with the audience. You can look at stats all day long, but if the engagement, which is my biggest thing that I am a big proponent for our station on, and I talk to our people all the time, it's the engagement. It's the talking back and forth with the listener. And we have a very, very, very small staff. There are 2 of us that are PDs that are on other stations that are doing all of the commercials, just all the production and stuff. And so there's only 2 of us posting on our station. And we're getting anywhere from 24 to, if it's a really good week and we have a lot of free time to post more posts per week. But for our 24 posts versus our competitors' 48 posts, because they have 9 people able to post or whatever, our engagement is quadruple theirs.
Wow.
It's like, I want to get my own back there, but I'm so happy.
You should be proud of that. Yes, that's big. And people don't
fun.
talk enough about the engagement side of it. So that's good that you understand that. And do you think that it's because you've kind of trained people how to use Facebook over there? Is it because you guys are also like a local show that's like in the community a lot and stuff?
Yeah. I've been in the community for a really long time, so that does help. But again, with the younger audience, they don't know I've been here that long. They have no idea. So I think it's because we've trained them. We are on semi-consistently. They know we're going to be on lives at least twice a week. I mean, when we're doing our Wheel of Treasures, we're on every day at the same time. And that was insane. Our Wheel of Treasures this year, our final day where we were just blowing out everything on the wheel. We still had $500 gift card to Walmart. We still had $50 gas cards. We still had Kenny Chesney tickets and, a whole bunch of different concerts. But we had hundreds of people viewing at the same time. And we had over 3,000 comments to try and win on Wheel of Treasures. And we are like a tiny market. So I just want everyone to understand that it is doable. It's so doable if you know your audience and you engage with them.
It's very cool to see that, you see why there's not one blanket way to do social media for every market. So that's why it gets frustrating when you see these companies just do that. And
that's actually one of my questions has been to higher ups multiple times. Okay, what you want us to do, in my experience, has tanked the algorithm and the next 2 posts suffer for it. So can you show me an example of how it didn't do that in another market? Or what's our goal with this post? And usually if you are respectful and you have the right questions and you've done your homework, they kind of take a step back. They have to. They don't want to tank it either. But it's a blanket idea of, here, just do this on all of your social media. And you're like, but Facebook's not the same as Instagram, is the same as TikTok, is the same as Reels, and the same as Stories. It's not like there's nuances for all of those things. And the way that your audience views those things can be looked up in all of your insights, and you need to tailor make it. Like it's a relationship. You need to know who you're talking to, why they want it.
Now, obviously, now you're just in a brand new company, still going through a transition. But before, were they embracing any of that?
We didn't fit the mold really, because everything that they had done in the past and everything that they had in these cute little boxes to do, we didn't do any of those things. It didn't really fit with our show. Everyone talks about being real. Real doesn't have to be negative. Real doesn't have to be only your polished side either. Half the time I'm putting on my morning makeup because I had leaky eyes in the morning and I couldn't put my mascara on, or I don't have makeup on at all. And you just have to be real with them and go, you guys, today was one of those days and it just didn't work. Just bear with me and don't tell me I look horrible, because inevitably there's going to be like, oh, you look tired today. And you're like, yeah, thanks.
Again, they want to put it just in a box and say, well, we just need quantity. We need to make sure that these many posts go up. And it's like, no.
And it needs to look pretty. And it needs to look pretty. Make sure it's in a perfect package, because we don't want to turn anyone off. And you're like, you've given them nothing to attach to. You're no longer a human. You're an android. And that's not, they love to see your flaws, and you need to be comfortable enough to let people see your flaws. And don't ask for fake help. Ask for real help. Let them see that when you're struggling. Be kind and genuine and interested when they're struggling, and don't just, shun them and be like, oh, this is the party place. We don't want to hear about the downers. Be real with people. They can't be your friend if you're not real.
It's nice to see that people get in it. I just don't think enough of like the higher ups get it.
Again, they love their spreadsheets. Spreadsheets are life, right? And it works because it worked here and it worked here and it worked here. So it will always work on every media across the board. And so we're going to make a list of things that must be done to make it successful. And you're like, Can those be suggestions and maybe ideas for me? Thanks.
Exactly. And then I can kind of customize from there. And you learn a lot of it. You play with, like, you probably experienced the same thing where you work so hard on like a post or whatever and it flops. And then something that you didn't try that hard on, like, ends up doing really well.
Absolutely. It happens all the time. You can manipulate the timing of it, and you can fix the headline 4 times, and you can get the perfect picture, and it can flop, and you're like, what happened? Why did it not work this time? And I can post something on accident at 11 p.m. and go back in to edit it, and it has taken off.
Yes.
Taken off. I can't even edit it. I can't even pull it back down because it's already got so much response. And you're not learning and growing if you're not flopping and trying something new. Like you will become stagnant.
So glad you get it. You said you did sales for a little bit too?
I did sales for a little bit. I'm not driven by money per se. Like I need it to live, but they kept giving me more and more and more on my goals. And I was like, but I like where I like who I am. The reason I need sales is to facilitate the parties I want to throw. Or you learn how to build win-win-win situations so that the listener is not tolerating your sales pitch to them and the client's not going, right, but what about me? And the on air doesn't feel like they're adulterating their entire Facebook news feed or Instagram feed with generic junk. And so creating that win-win-win is possible. It is possible. You just have to relinquish a little bit of control and go into those meetings going, all right, here is my hard line. I'm not going past here. I'm not posting junk. If you want me to sell something, we're going to sell it my way. And you're going to have to trust me that I know my listener and that I know my medium good enough to get it done. And if you go in there with that passion and the way that you present yourself, then usually they're like, oh, they've got this. They're in control. They're gonna take care of me.
That's a good point. Okay. And are you the main person kind of at the station that's doing that and advocating for digital in that way?
Yes, because I know that it needs to make money. I get it. I know that we can't just go off and have fun. Someone has to pay for the party. I get that part. And if you preempt it, if you go into sales and say, I want to come to your next sales meeting, I want to pitch this with you to your client, and you do that a couple of times, you only have to do it a couple of times, and then you can send audio and you can send videos. We've done it a couple of times where we're like, hey, we want to sell your sand rails. Can we come have a party with the sand rails? And then we're going to do a video for you and we're going to put it on our social media. And then if you give us one to give away, it's going to go awesome. I promise we're going to do a live and we'll have at least 100 comments on there, and you're going to be seen everywhere. They get excited with you and they're like, who wouldn't want you to sell my stuff for me for just a 4-hour rental? That doesn't cost me anything. Okay, sign me up.
Now, do the salespeople there get that as a whole, or does it take you coming into each of these sales meetings to really sell the digital side?
Oh, come on. The sales don't even listen to their own stations, do they?
I mean, I figured, but maybe it was a unique situation.
No, you get those token salespeople that are like killing it, and they know, and they want, then all of a sudden they want you on every meeting, and you're like, okay, I can only go on a few. But no, you have to. I present big ideas on email first. Okay. Then I go into a sales meeting and I pull the email up and make it come alive. Then I say, who do you have that I can sell this to right now? Do you have anyone we can call right now? Or do we need to go see someone? So that they start going, oh, okay. Yeah, actually, I do have a dealership that would probably do that right now. Let me call them. Sweet. If they have any hesitation, bring me. Let's go do this. Let's do it tomorrow. And just make sure you're open to having some time in front of their clients.
I worked in Colorado Springs for a bit. And our morning show was good about presenting this stuff to the sales team. But the problem was the sales team wouldn't sell it. So then they would on the back end get a free hookup or something like that. But then they'd get in trouble from the sales GM or something. from
Yeah.
getting like betrayed.
Yep.
But it's like, but the salespeople didn't sell it.
Maybe all of my preparation is because of situations like that, where, look, I've sent you guys 3 proposals to get these things done, and I went and got it done myself, and you're mad. So that's where all that prep comes from, is we got to make this happen. If you don't, I'm going to go find it. It
sounds like you're like probably like since you worked in each like department, and like you said that you can craft these things, that you kind of that you can be in there like a tank and be knowledgeable of it all, and not just like, oh, and let them walk all over you. Really,
you have to be strong in this business. You don't have to be negative, you don't have to be disrespectful, but you do have to be strong. Like, well, my client wants you to do this in their commercial. Well, this is the kind of the layout that we do for social media commercials. And it doesn't really fit into this, but I promise it's going to work better. Do you want me to talk to the client? Oh, no. So, sometimes it's not the client. So you just have to be like, oh, sorry, that's a hard no. We can't on that. But here's what we can do.
I'm so glad you say that, because there's one thing, you have to protect your own brand as the radio station too. You need the programming people or whatnot to let them know, no, here's how social is going to work, or the promotions people, and how everything's going to tie together. Yeah,
I try to be a yes person. So if they bring me something that's totally skewed, they obviously clearly do not listen to my morning show. They have not looked at our social media ever, other than me telling them that we have a lot of viewers on our social media, and they're wanting something and the client didn't really ask for it, but they want to give it to their client like a present. Then I'm like, we can absolutely do that. It is a $200 talent fee, and I'm going to need them to buy a $200 gift to put on our prize wheel when we come down. And they're like, well, we can't do that. Well, okay, that's fine. But that's what it would take to get that done on this social media post. That would get enough attention that the social media post would work, and just kind of put it back on them. Like, you're asking something absolutely ridiculous, so I guess I will as well.
Right. Now, when you say you like to sell the party, is that specific? Do you mean event specific, or you mean the whole thing?
It depends. I like to put together events, and I'm not talking like we don't have. Well, we probably do now. We didn't have any money. Like if I want to put together a Christmas party with the city of St. George, I call the city of St. George. I go plan it. We have no money to execute it, but I had 2,000 people show up to sing Silent Night. And we turned on the Christmas lights at downtown St. George. Like, wow. We didn't have any money and we still got it done. So those are the things that I'm like, I want to have everyone sing Silent Night with me. How can I make this happen?
How did you make it happen?
Okay, that's when working in the community has helped. But we have Tuacahn. It's Broadway in the desert. It's seriously big musicals or plays that are done outside on this amazing stage. And I said, hey, can I have a season pass for next year? You guys are selling them at discounts for Black Friday. I want that. I will pitch your Black Friday, and then I want a season package to give away for an ugly sweater contest. And they're like, yeah, all day, whatever. Great. Yeah. So then I launched an ugly sweater contest so that they can come walk the stage while the city turns on the Christmas lights, right? So now you have a built-in audience that wants to come and win a prize and all of those things. And then you got social media going on. Then all you have to do is include a few schools. Good heavens. We had schools want to come carol because they couldn't go carol anywhere else. It was outside. They brought all of their friends and family, and all of a sudden you have a party. We got Santa to come. He showed up at the very end. The lights went on. Kids got to go take pictures with Santa, and it became a huge event. It was awesome.
You learn a lot from being in places where you don't have a ton of resources, because you have to get creative and figure things out.
Super fun. Yeah.
Do you have any other stories of like things that you pulled together like on a budget?
Oh, well, Wheel of Treasures. Wheel of Treasures was our brainchild. Mostly my co-host DJ. He is a creative, and sometimes you just have to let the creatives go for a minute, and then you you bring them back in and get to reality. We wanted to give away $1,000 cash. We don't have $1,000 cash. So we pitched it to several different clients that they would get X amount of promo inventory, no sales inventory. That's the other thing that I really wanted to train the salespeople. Radio has value. Don't give them like 500 commercials for their $100 contribution, you've devalued radio. Please stop doing that. If I'm giving them $1,000 of promotional inventory, which is the first one out the gate, then that's worth it. They don't need any other commercials, nothing else promised. You're devaluing radio. Please stop doing that. So we went to a bunch of different clients, got cash from them, and they liked the idea so much that on top of the cash, they gave us gift cards to their business. Well, you do that a few times and you have an entire wheel full of prizes. We had, the first time we did this was unbelievable because we did it at lunchtime. We're going back to lunchtime next time.
Okay.
People set reminders in their phone to join us for their lunch breaks, and they got to watch us spin the wheel for whoever had the comment that we chose on social media or the code word we did on air, and we gave away $2,000. We had one slot for $1,000 and one slot for $500, and then prizes that are worth way more than $25 each on that prize wheel. And we had people join us every single day for 3 weeks to do Wheel of Treasures. It's a game show on social media with your local market every single day during ratings period. It was outstanding. It was outstanding.
And do the higher ups like acknowledge like all the work you guys put into the social?
It's a really weird mix of, oh, well, that was easy. Like, I could have gotten that done, but you didn't, and you don't, but we did. So thank you. And then there's the stations that are like, holy cow, how did you put that together? And I'm like, I will show you. We're all brothers and sisters. That's the other thing that drives me crazy in radio is how they pit us against each other. We're a big family.
Especially now.
Freaking big family. Call me. I will help you with any idea you want. I will critique you, and I hope you would do the same for me. I love that. Love it.
Me too. I love the networking, and that was so fun.
Yes.
Like how we all were hanging out in Nashville, too. Like everybody just kind of from all these different paths in radio, just brainstorming and just sharing ideas with each other, and it's great.
Yes. Oh, it is great. That's how we get better. My word, that's how brainchilds happen. But Wheel of Treasures, just really quick, it garnered us so much in social media. It shut Facebook down several times because the comments were coming in so fast, we couldn't keep up with them. It glitched on us multiple times. It was so fun, and everyone loved it. Like all of the listeners were like, oh my gosh, you shut down Facebook again. That was awesome. And then we'd get feedback forever. And we got to, and the wheel got to go to the sponsors' locations. It wasn't just in studio. So if they gave us over $500, we would come down for lunch. They had to feed us lunch. But we would come down for lunch at their business and we would do the wheel there. So, I mean, there's a million things you can do with it, but it worked out. Awesome.
You're one of the first people I think that I've talked to on here that really gets how to, incorporate the digital on streets, on the air, so I love that because it can be so fun, and that's how radio should.
It should work together. The problem is they've beaten us down so much and taken away a street team. There's no street teams anywhere. Who's going to come work for free in a possibility of an overnight shift that they won't get paid for forever? And then when they do get paid, it's not a career anymore. Like it's just, they've beaten it out. Like I said, there's 2 of us on our station. 2, and we both have 2 or 3 jobs. We can't do this full time. My word, what I wouldn't give to do the morning show only and do our own social media and be our own street team. Dude, if I could have that, we would kill it.
You're like the PD on top of it, right?
Yeah. And I'm on other stations. Like I'm on 2 other stations. I just don't think it does us any justice in the market when I'm on 3 different stations or 2 different stations, and so is my morning show partner, and so is it's just like it's like hearing the same person do this commercials for an entire stop set. Oh yeah, that's happened too. Wait, that was me. Wait, that was me again. That's a lot of me on that commercial stop set.
So resource wise, if you were just in your dream scenario, like what would that look like to you? You have all the people you need, like you're waking up every day, just like not as stressed. You have a nice salary happening. What does it look like from a work perspective to you?
Work perspective, I would have every day part. Oh my gosh, I would have every day part live. That is, I think that's everyone in radio's dream. They're like back in the heyday when everyone was live. and having fun. I think that we inundate on-air talent with so many jobs, and then like the on-air portion, which should be the top priority, suddenly becomes like third and fourth on the list of things to do. And that is so backwards. We have got to correct that quick. Like if I go to work and I am creatively stimulated and I have great interaction with my audience, then the rest of the day is cake. Like I can whip out the commercials, no problem. I can work on creative on a couple of commercials with the salespeople. I can come up with a promotion and put a package together all that day. If you go to work and you are droning away and they have taken the fun and the life from the radio station and you're doing everything and you have no help, I don't know how they think performers can perform like that. I don't understand. Well, I kind of do understand. They're not performers.
Yes.
The people who are dictating what is happening with radio stations aren't the performers. They're not the creatives. They're like, all right, you have about a half an hour at 2:30 to be creative. Go. And you're like, what? Wow, you know how creativity works, don't you? I'll pencil that in and make sure I get a whole bunch of creative stuff coming out at 2:30 today. So as much as I don't want them messing with my social media, their people get views across the country and the world. So instead of going, don't touch my baby and ruin it, please stop, I have to go, okay, there's more room for us to grow. I need to be able to go, okay, there's a digital platform that we're not using right now, and how can I integrate these successfully? How can I look at their model and go, I don't understand that. Please explain that to me until it makes sense. And if it doesn't make sense, ask the right questions until they go, oh, it might not make sense for you. Mm-hmm. Like, I really think there's more room to move if we are rational, reasonable, and have great questions. I think if we come prepared and we're not disrespectful, I think there's more give and take that could be had in radio. I have a family. I live on 5 acres in beautiful southern Utah. I have alpacas and goats and dogs and chickens and cats. Like, we're not going anywhere. But you still have to be like, this is my worth. Like, I'm not going to do any less. You know, and the other negotiating thing that I've done is, oh, you don't have enough to pay me. That's awesome. How about I'll do 6 hours a day?
Ooh.
Okay, that's fine. How about I get every other Friday off? Because I don't think people think that they are really good at business if they can screw you over. Mm-hmm. And I think it's like they're, I'm so good, I got her for whatever. And it's this baseline. And they know I don't want to walk away. So I've had to get really, really good at being like, absolutely, I can do it for that. I'm going to take every family birthday off. Sound good?
And do they usually give in salary wise, or do they let you take every other birthday off?
It's been both, not really salary wise, because I haven't had a raise, and geez, let's not talk about that because it makes me cry a little bit. But I just stopped doing. They're like, we have a call at 2:00, and I was like, oh, I was off at 11:30. So have fun on that call. And they know they can't go anywhere with it. What are they going to do? Make me be on the call?
Nice.
So you just kind of have to be bold and not disrespectful. I think we wait and wait and wait because we feel so disrespected ourselves. And we have to realize that it's not personal. It's super not personal. But we feel so disrespected for so long that we wait to blow up. And we can't do that. Just preempt it. Say no respectfully, and just have maybe a couple of things in your back pocket that you're going to say, oh my gosh, I would love to, but I can't. I have a family thing. Yeah. Then it's none of their business. Yeah. It's none of their business.
It's boundaries. And I think people are learning that everywhere, you know, from how companies are and everything. Like, even me, you know, like I used to give reasons like why I'm taking a day off and stuff like that. And like now I'm like, I don't need a reason.
Nope. It's my paid time off. I've earned it. I don't have to actually give you a reason at all. My contract little tip. Every time it said other duties as assigned, I crossed it out and said renegotiate at this point. It was 3 times in my contract. I was like, nope, no other duties as assigned. Nice try.
That's so freaking vague and like.
And they do that on purpose. Don't let them do that to you. No, absolutely not. There are some things that you're like, all right, I can give in on that or whatever. Don't ever give in to other duties as assigned. That is wreck waiting to happen. Okay, a lot of DJs are like super on it, and they send out emails patting their own back. I hate that. I am so stoked about our social media, and I've had to learn to be like, you guys check this out, and just put the Facebook link and send it to everyone in the office and be like, we had an amazing showing this morning. I hope you didn't miss it. If you did, here it is. And just send them a link, which in my opinion, you should be listening to your station and you should be watching, and like you should have heard, especially when there's that many people on and half of them were your clients. But we've got to get better at patting our own backs and having stats to back it up. I think that will help a lot with the communication. And again, it's the people who are making the rules are not the creatives. So we need to help them understand what makes a creative successful. I think coming up with, hey, I got to have way more fun in the office. I can get some spreadsheet stuff done, but if that's the majority of my job, I'm not going to perform well. Those are two separate sides of the brain, and you've got to give both sides time, and you're encroaching on my creativity time. And you're going to put me on stage and I'm going to flop. I'm going to have nothing. I'm not even going to have a life to talk about if I do all of the things you want me to do. Join the bandwagon. If more of us are saying it respectfully, more people will listen. I think it's a delivery problem. We know how to deliver on the air. We've got to learn to sell ourselves to our own companies so that they listen to us. We need to sell each other. Pretend I'm a client. If you haven't listened to my show and you have no idea what to ask me, then just say that. Listen, I'm a slacker. I have not listened. I don't even know the benchmarks on your show. Help me. Okay. Now we can have a conversation. Just be real.
There's another, I think it's the same one. Yeah. Where I said they've been in the market for a long time, where they're that situation too, where he's not a salesperson, but has been in the market so long. And some of these relationships have been so long that like he either gets a cut of it or something like that. Because, if you're like, well, fuck, I'm coming to all these meetings every time, spending my time having to sell the dream to your client each time. Yeah, I'm getting something to this for me,
Okay, that's another thing. I'm glad you brought that up because I build that in when I do promotions. So if I'm building a specific promotion for like two businesses that are going to like spend a ton of money on this promotion that I've put together and the schedule that I've put together and the appearances that I'm going to be at, I build it in. I say, okay, is this worth 3%? What is this worth? And I'll talk with the sales manager first before they go sell it, before anything happens. And I say, this promotion is a 10 grand promotion. Is that worth 3%? What is that worth? And I'll negotiate those things if it's a big deal. You can do that. You can do that.
Absolutely, as you should. Yep. I don't think a lot of people realize that.
It's hard because sales and programming are like these two entities that are always kind of fighting and they're always kind of button heads, which they should, because we should vehemently like hone in our skills and like protect the on air, and sales should protect the clients. But at the same time, we still should have a relationship with them. I can go talk to my sales manager. He is great. He listens. We don't always agree, but there's constant communication of what would work and what won't work. And that makes all the difference when you're trying to get something done, especially a party that you want to do, or extra sales commission that you might want to get, or a social media thing that you want to have happen that you need a little extra cash for, and he can go sell real quick to a handful of sales that he knows can go call their clients right now. It's a constant nurturing, like you said earlier. You have to nurture those relationships or they die on the vine.
The Radio Fam Podcast. TheRadioFam.com.